Hey everyone, today I'm just here to do a quick collective reading. I feel like the current times are indicative of stagnancy. It feels like we are all sitting on a collective train and we know that time is passing, but we can't see that we're moving anywhere. It kind of feels like life is buffering right now. And so that is definitely something I feel on a personal level, but it's also something that I've noticed on a collective level. Blame it on me being a Pisces. Maybe I'm really that tapped into how everyone is feeling, but perhaps it is just the way headlines seem to be repeating, the way history seems to be repeating. I know that many of us are being confronted with past toxic habits and belief systems and traits that we may not have confronted yet. And because of that, because of working through personal struggles and perhaps even like struggles that relate to our social groups, these are or struggles related to our own self-belief, belief that we are capable and talented and possible. These are all things that we are confronting at this time, so it can make life feel like we're in a little bit of like a buffer mode. And I personally am so exhausted by this energy. It definitely makes me feel uninspired, but in another sense, sorry for my shaking camera, in another sense, it reminds me that there's work to be done and that I can't become comfortable with running in place. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with a Daily Rituals Oracle card just to highlight what is the main energy that we as collective are feeling at this time. What is the virtue or the word for this like buffering period that we're feeling on a collective level, whether that is buffering in our personal lives or in our work settings or in our friend groups and our families. So the collective energy right now is manifestation. Okay. So this card says, with the help of the universe, I co-create my life. And I really love this card. I talked about our social groups, and that is associated with the 11th house, which is ruled by the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is actually also indicated by the image on this card, which is this woman in her very unique and fun outfit, which is a very Aquarian trait as well, just very unique and fun out of the box. Aquarius is also the inventor of the gourd. We see a gourd here on this card, and the gourd is what brings the water from the river or the pond or the collective consciousness in the cosmos, if you will. And the gourd can bring that water back to the village where the people are, or back down to earth where people need some sort of inspiration, some sort of fresh air, which is symbolized by the air sign of Aquarius. That collective consciousness healing water that can help us wash away old beliefs that are holding us back from our higher purpose and the best version of being ourselves. And that is manifestation energy. Manifestation energy is being aware of what our old tools were able to do and innovating them or taking a different approach or a different perspective so that we can experience something new. We're manifesting something new. So that is the collective energy that we're all feeling. Just get a sip of some hot water. If you're not aware, hot water is absolutely phenomenal for your skin. It's really good for your throat chakra. If you are someone who's dealing with having something to say or having a talent that utilizes your voice and maybe not feeling the confidence or the clarity, the mental clarity to be able to use that gift, hot water is a great way to combat those feelings and also like any physical things that could be contributing to those feelings as well. Just make sure you let it cool down a bit. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and get some astro alignment cards just to clarify where can we gain insight and how we can co-create our dream life with the universe. Remember, the card said, with the help of the universe, I co-create my dream life. So where as collective do we need some inspiration or guidance for how we can co-create with the universe or manifest our dreams? We got the equinox card, and this card is related to commitment, integration, and shifts. So equinox, this reminds me of, it's not spring equinox, it's fall equinox and summer solstice. So the fall equinox happens in the month of, what is fall equinox? Fall equinox happens in the month of September, and it is the point when the autumn equinox is the first day that the sun and the moon exist in the sky for the exact amount of time. So they're equal, right? And after that point, after the equinox, the moon takes over. The moon spends more time in the sky than the sun does, depending on what side of the globe you're on. But if you're in the Western hemisphere like I am, we experience longer nights and shorter days after the autumn equinox. So from autumn all the way until summer, we have longer nights and shorter days. And then once summer starts, the summer solstice, that indicates, or that begins the season, the cycles of longer days and shorter nights. So the equinox time is a time for us to really decide what we're going to allow our roots to take hold of during the longer night period. Whatever our roots attach to, so you can think about like root vegetables, you can think about trees. During this time, there's not as many leaves, there's not as much outer evidence of growth or movement, kind of like that buffering energy I mentioned in the very beginning of this video. There's not as much evidence of the outer appearance, there's not as much flash and showiness, but there is so much internal power because the trees, the root vegetables, our environment, it's all going inward, and it's tapping into the inner, like the core strength to help it sustain as there are longer nights, because it's going to get colder. There are going to be different and fewer resources than we're used to. So we really need to commit and attach to the things that sustain us over time. This is why during this season, you'll notice that people are starting to, so for example, the harvest happens. In the United States, there's a holiday period at the end of November, which typically which is said to celebrate gratitude, generosity, conservation, and planning, future planning. And that is because in the winter, it's very important for us to bring the things close to us that are going to help us through hibernation. If you think about yourself as a bear, you're going to want to make sure that you eat the right things. You're going to want to make sure that you change your schedule, commit to a schedule that helps you integrate the things that you learned over the summer and shift into a more gentle, quiet, reflective period of the year. And so that manifestation is going to be supported by our ability to commit, to integrate, and to shift into the practices, the thought patterns, the habits that really support our goals that we have, that we want to see in the next 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, 600 years, right? Because remember, the sign of Aquarius, which is indicated by the image on this card here, Aquarius is concerned with humanitarian efforts, and Aquarius wants to change the world in a way that's going to affect generations. Aquarius didn't just make the gourd because they were thirsty. They made the gourd because they knew that this piece of technology is going to change the way we exist for thousands of years. So keep that in mind. What are the ideas and the practices that you want to commit to that are going to really change the way you live? Technology is supposed to make our lives easier. So perhaps what are the ways that technology is actually hindering our collective and your personal productivity and manifestation? And what are the ways that we can change or shift the way that we interact with technology to support those things? So let's go ahead and just get a few cards to clarify and give us a little bit more information about this time we're in. I'll go ahead and just pull 3 for past, present, and future for us. Where have we been? Thank you. We've been with the 3 of Pentacles. Where are we now? What is the present energy? Wow, okay. So we got 4 cards for the present. And where are we headed in the future? Let's get 1 card for our future energy. Thank you. So this is not future telling. This is where we are, what the energy will be as we move into the future. So kind of like what the energy is for us to work with. And it actually looks pretty good. In the future, we will feel the motivation and the courage, hopefully, to follow our heart and go after our dreams. But I don't want to jump too fast into the future. So let me go ahead and get a sip of water, and I will go ahead and break down this past, present, future reading for collective. At the bottom of the deck here, we do have the 9 of Cups, which indicates a wish granted. So we're kind of all like in a stagnant waiting period right now because we're awaiting the results of a wish that we planted. And that could have been before the eclipses, manifesting anytime before the eclipses. It also could have been a wish that we had as children. It could be a collective wish that we are all kind of like pouring into together, perhaps without even realizing. So that's something that's interesting. All right. So in our past, we have the 3 of Pentacles. It's very interesting because we're starting with a past energy in a 3, and we're ending with a future energy also in a 3. 3 is a number of expansion. When we have 1, we have inspiration. When we have 2, we have union. And when we have 3, we have expansion. All right. It does take 2 to become 3. So keep that in mind. With the past energy, we were in a space of collaboration. Collaboration over competition was going to be what helped us build something of quality, something that lasts long term, something that supports our personal and collective vision. Because one person can have a vision, but when we pair our minds, we're able to come up with a plan. And then when we come together, we can build things that last for long periods of time. if this person has very specific knowledge that perhaps these other people don't have. And each of these people also has knowledge that this person doesn't, because they come from different backgrounds. As you can see, they're all wearing different kinds of clothing that each indicate different expertise. This person's apron may mean that they have more technical experience, whereas this person's, the folds here indicate like high quality. This person knows what aesthetics should look like. Perhaps this person with these, like, it seems like denim in a collared shirt, perhaps they really know how to get organized. So these three people on the card can represent all of us as collective, but it can also represent three different parts of ourselves, like our mind, body, and spirit, for example, or our desire, work ethic, and spirit. So all three of those different facets of this card could represent personal and collective themes. And we were in the past trying to bring different ideas together in order to build something that could support and sustain and provide all of us refuge. That is something that, and I'm also getting on this card that perhaps there were some competing interests, but it does seem that most of us in collective are interested in the same outcome, perhaps with different values, but we all want the same outcome. In the present, we have the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Wands, the Four of Cups, and the Devil. Oops. So in the present, this is our energy, our current present energy. Right now, we're starting off with a time when we all feel called to defend the lifestyles, the provisions, defend the causes and the ideas and the passions, like specifically the creative projects and like ways of life that are most important to us, that help us experience a life that feels empowering, a life that feels like it's related to a cause that's bigger than us, something that is supporting us, but also supporting our environment and the collective. But it also seems like we are in a time when we are trying to defend humanity. Like we're trying to, and when I say humanity, it's really just because like she's a human on this card, but we're trying to defend the things that are required for sustaining our joy and our pleasure. Joy and pleasure are indicated by wands, which is fire energy, and fire is like our passion, our excitement, our creativity, our flavor, our desire energy. And we're kind of in a time when we are trying to defend all of those things against boundaries that no longer support us or that don't match the energy that we are bringing. And the Eight of Wands indicates that there's going to be some form of communication, travel, or news that will help us or give us the reminder that we need to reaffirm our right to fight for what we believe in. And that's not to like incite resistance at all, but it really is to encourage resilience and to encourage persistence. We also have the Four of Cups and the Devil in our present energy. So I think that perhaps this information that we get on the Eight of Wands here, perhaps the information that we get may remind us what we don't want. It may remind us of what we don't want. And for that reason, it's reaffirming and reinforcing what we do want. So whatever this information is, whatever this incoming information is, the Eight of Wands reminds me of like festive holiday romance energy, like sending love texts to like the person that you are thinking of over the holidays, that kind of energy. But to me, with the Devil here, it's indicating that this incoming information might actually just be like, it's Black Friday, come spend more of your money, invest more in capitalism. And our collective energy is like, I'm kind of over that. I'm over feeling like I depend on something that's actually not good for me. I'm overfeeding a machine, a battery that takes my life force and doesn't pour back into me, right? And so I think that this Seven of Wands energy is really just defending that I don't need that codependency on capitalism or codependency on like a draining work schedule or draining work requirements in order to be happy. All that does is make me manifest things that I don't want. All that does is exhaust me and make me want to isolate myself. Instead, what we are going to do in the present, or what we were encouraged to do, I think, by this reading, is take a step back from the things we think we need in order to be happy. If you think that you need a material thing like a new gadget or new shoes or new clothes or even new friends in order to be happy, you're forgetting that the happiness comes from within you. You can't replicate this flower that's inside of you in any material object or item. And that is the belief that you're being encouraged to defend at this time. So if there's some sort of project or work or activity that you usually pour yourself into, and this codependency on materialism and toxic habits and beliefs is making you feel like you can't manifest by focusing on that project, the future energy is really telling you like the time is now, and like it's kind of like past time to go after what you believe in. Remember that the Two of Wands is just this, it's kind of like a similar image with a person standing on a rooftop with two wands. And that card, the Two of Wands, is about like plan what you're going to do with this next wand because there's a lot to come. The Three of Wands is more like expanding, like, okay, you have three wands now, like it's time to plant one. What are you doing? Like, don't sit on your wand and let it waste. Don't sit on your talent, your gift, your skill and let it waste. It's time for us to use what we know and use and plant it so that we can create a more prosperous world. All the yellow in the tarot represents wealth. It represents comfort, and I don't want to say clarity, but it kind of just represents like the contentment of knowing that you've done of knowing a job well done. We also have three boats on this card, and the boats are, to me, indicative of sending out something that you know will return a profit or an investment. You know that you're going to get a return on your investment because you're going to put these wands that you've worked so hard to grow in each of these ships and send them off to have the impact that you're hoping for, or send them off to have the response that you're hoping for. So this is our future energy, and this is what we're working with moving forward. I wish you the absolute best of luck through the end of November and through the end of 2023. And I hope to see you leaving comments to let me know if this resonated with you. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so that you get the notification for when new videos are posted. It is so wonderful to see you here at the Soul Tree, and I'll see you next time.